Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to talk about a trap that is so common. You see it everywhere in meetings, on social media, you name it. It's this habit we have of thinking the loudest person in the room must also be the smartest. Let's dive in.
So let me just ask you this right off the bat. Seriously think about, is the loudest voice really the most important one? We've all been there, right? That one person just dominating the whole conversation. But does all that volume actually mean they have something valuable to say? It seems like a simple no, but you'd be surprised how often our brains get it wrong.
And that leads us right into our main topic today. This whole phenomenon actually has a name, or at least we're giving it one. We're calling it the influence illusion. And it's this little mental shortcut that can seriously steer us and our teams in a completely wrong direction.
So what's the big mistake here? It's actually super simple. We mix up noise with actual influence. When someone is speaking in this really strong, confident, and just persistent way, our brain kind of defaults to giving them more credit than they might actually deserve.
But why? Why are we so wired to do this? Well, that's what we're going to unpack next, figuring out exactly why we have this instinct to follow the noise.
Look, it's a totally modern thing, and it's cranked up to 11 in our crazy fast-paced world. We're just drowning in information all day long, so our brains are desperately looking for shortcuts. And you know what looks like a good shortcut? The loudest, most confident opinion. It feels like a safe bet, a quick answer. We just subconsciously figure, wow, to be that assertive, they have to know what they're talking about.
This slide just lays it all out so perfectly, doesn't it? On the left, that's our brain's faulty math. Loud equals confident, and confident must mean influential. But then you look over at the sobering reality on the right, and yeah, a lot of the time loudness is really just noise. It rarely has more substance than the quieter, more thoughtful comment that gets ignored.
Okay, so that's the problem. We get it. We've all seen it happen. But we're not just here to point out what's broken. We want to find a better way. And that better way is a really powerful skill, the art of measured speech.
The real antidote here isn't to try and be louder than the loud person. It's to stop contributing to the noise altogether. The smart move, the virtuous move, is to practice measured speech. It's about picking your moments and choosing your words like they really matter. Because they do.
So what is measured speech really? It's this idea of speaking less, but making sure that when you do speak, it lands with way more impact. This is not about being silent or shy. It's about being efficient, being effective, and it's all built on three main ideas.
And here they are. Think of these as the foundation. First, you've got clarity, which just means people actually get what you're saying. Then there's depth, which means what you're saying has some real substance to it. And finally, honesty, which means your point is real and people can trust it. You put those three together, and suddenly, your words stop being noise, and they start becoming a signal.
All right, so knowing the pillars is one thing, but actually building them into how you talk every day, that's the real challenge, and it's the real goal. So let's get super practical. Let's talk about how you can actually start speaking with real, genuine impact.
I mean, that's the big question, right? It all sounds great in theory, but what can you actually do? Like in your very next meeting or conversation, what are the real, concrete steps you can take?
Okay, here's your toolkit. First one, practice the pregnant pause. Seriously, before you jump in, just take a beat, a breath. It gives your brain a second to catch up. Next, try to boil down what you want to say to just one key point before you open your mouth. Ask yourself, what's the one thing I need to add here? Number 3, and this is a big one, listen more than you speak. I mean, you can't possibly add depth if you haven't absorbed the context, right? Then, use clarifying questions. This is like a superpower. It shows you're paying attention and helps you understand better. And finally, speak with honesty, not to get a reaction. Real influence, the kind that lasts, is always built on being authentic.
And you know what's cool? When you start doing these things, something amazing begins to happen. You stop trying to compete with all the noise. Instead, you become the signal, that clear voice that people actually lean in to hear. So let's wrap this up by focusing on that ultimate goal, finding your signal.
I absolutely love this quote. It just nails the whole idea, doesn't it? The point isn't to shout over everybody. The point is to say something so clear, so thoughtful, that people actually want to listen. It's a total shift from worrying about volume to focusing on value.
So, if you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this. True, lasting influence is never found in how loud the noise is. It's found in the quality of the signal. It's built on that clarity, that depth, and that honesty we talked about. And that's what I want to leave you with, a challenge. The next time you're in a meeting or a debate, or even just talking with a friend, check in with yourself and ask, am I about to be more noise, or am I going to be the signal? Thanks so much for joining me.